Hello, everybody. My name's Henry. For those you that don't know who I am, for those that you do know who I am, welcome back. Tonight we're going to be talking about things that went extinct and how these shadow governments, shadow projects, dark projects, whatever you want to call them, how they've been for years trying and bringing back things that went extinct. And the reason for this shouldn't surprise nobody, but in case you're one of the people with your head in the hole, they're bringing them back a little bit at a time. And what the whole thing amounts to is they've tried killing us off with the jab, different kinds of bugs, now the ticks, mosquitoes that they've been creating. And thanks to assholes and dumbasses like Bill Gates and people like Fauci and some of these others. They are going to bring back all this stuff. And what they're trying to do is depopulate. They've tried everything else and haven't succeeded to the best of their ability, so they think. So you're going to find out sooner or later. They've been doing this. It started out with the Germans in World War II. They were bringing all kinds of shit back, studying it. But you know how the United States shadow government is. You know, the ones that you don't see sitting up there at the shit house. These are ones that hit around all over the United States and all over other countries. And the biggest assholes in the bunch is three letters. CIA is who backs all this. What do you need the money for? Oh, we're going to build a bunch of condoms. We're going to make them out of truck tires. Gee, are they going to be made public? Well, yeah, we'll put one of them little blue pills in it, rub it on it, stay hard all night. Then they go back to these crazies like Fauci and these other idiots. And of course, you got Billy Gates. You ever see a fucking frog with glasses? That's what that pretty looking sumbitch looks like, a fucking lizard. Fucking retard. Get this. He wants everybody to eat cockroaches made to look like hamburgers. He wants to be able to go out there and pick some grass and make it look like celery for me and you. While that goopy little cocksucker runs around eating hamburger, steak, pork chops, while the rest of us eat fucking bugs. I got one thing to say to Bill Gates and all these other buffoons out there that's working with this crazy bastard. Now, what I'm about to say, this is not making him number one. This means, fuck you, Bill Gates. That's what that means. I ain't trying to tell you you're number one, so you overbrained, stupid son of a bitch. Just so you know, that was a fuck you from me to you. You don't like it? Send some of your henchmen to pay me a visit. I'll send them back to you. Looks like they got fucked by the neighbor dog. But now we got that out in the open. The Germans was doing this in World War II. They were also doing cloning. Well, when you first started hearing about this, was in the 80s when they come out, you know, with the clone pig and the clone sheep. It come out over there in Russia Yeah, Russia. They was over there and they was doing what they call like a strip mining, hydro mining, where you use a great big power hose on the side of a hillside and it blows the shit out of the way, the sediment and all that stuff, and reveals these mammoth bones. Now, just to show you that it ain't just the United States doing this shit, I mean, we're morons ourselves, you know. Here we are fighting a fucking war in several countries, trying to swallow up the fucking world. Kind of reminds you of Hitler, doesn't it? We have no business in these other places. But it's a cover story. But anyway, all these places. Hey man, you find one of those there mammoth tusk, send it to me. See if I can get some DNA out of it. Ching ching chong chong chong. You mean me. Yeah, all these fucking countries. China. I never could understand them motherfuckers, but anyway. All these countries are in a race. Now don't let that fool you. Do you think one country is going to get it and not another? No. They're all going to get a piece of the action. Why? The United States ain't the only one that's overpopulated. It's a whole organized world leaders doing this. Quietly, of course. Don't want Joe Schmo there to be working under his car and get all excited and kick the jack out from under his car and drop the fucking car on his head, do you? So they got to disguise all this, like, you know, hey, over there in Mexico, they ain't doing nothing about the drugs. Coming in here, getting all you people high and killing you. Oh, and by the way, we're going to go over there and invade that place and put a military base. Why? Now, don't tell them why. Why? Because they have a Stargate over there, so they built a base over top of it. See, I know about this because of being in the projects. And I've sat on this information long enough. And I had to talk with my wife the other night, and I told her that we should do a show about this because they've been doing this for years. It started out the Germans doing it, and then see, you got to understand, there was a little thing called paperclip. Get this, you're gonna like this. It's funny, it's well known knowledge, but I'm going to go ahead and explain it for some of you who don't know. The cat lickers, that's the Catholic Church. The the Pope on the rope. He was the go-between between the United States and Germany. Yes, this is all well documented. He was working hand in hand to get those German scientists and other Germans through a church over the mountain, through the woods, and not to grandma's house, but eventually right into the United States. Now, here's the funny thing. You know, in World War II, they claimed the reason why we had to go fight in World War II is because Germany was just slaughtering people. We're going to tell you some backstory on this in case some of you don't know. It's kind of like the Romanov deal. Hey, United States government, this here's old Adolf. Will you please take these fucking Jews? What the fuck we want them for? If you don't take them, I gotta figure out a new solution. Give a fuck what you do with them. Okay, Himmler, go ahead and get the gas chambers ready. firing squads. Yeah, that's the true history. See, the real history they ain't teaching in there in that fucking school. That's the real true history. There's a reason for that, and the reason for that is why did all these people that called in right before Pearl Harbor got hit? Hey, Mr. Gimplegs. Hey, the Imperial Navy has been spotted. Fuck you. What do you mean, fuck you? I asked for war the other day. I walked my gimp legs up there and asked for war, and they said no, that the American people didn't want that. Now, I got a hot piece of ass in there in bed. Don't bother me until something really happens. Then I'm going to sleep an extra 2 hours, let them sweat it out for a while, and they'll be begging for me to give them war. Well, as we know, Pearl Harbor got hit. Old cripple ass gets a phone call. Pearl Harbor's been hit. Pearl Harbor's been hit, sir. Yeah. Wake me up in 2 hours. Oh, hell, make it 3. Because I forgot. As soon as I get up, I got to wash my ass. Oh, hell, make it 4 hours. And do you remember what happened? That crazy looking old fucking crippled bastard got on TV and made his little dumbass speech. Several people warned him that they seen the Imperial Navy headed toward Pearl. He didn't do a fucking thing about it. And he sat there and all these retarded sheep, see, they got up, bah, we need war. Imperial Navy just hit Honolulu. Fucking retards. I knew you'd come around my way. Well, how come you didn't come out to talk to the American people 3 hours ago? What the fuck am I come out for you for? I knew how to work this system. Here's how you work it. I wanted war. You motherfucker didn't. When I got the call they was coming in, I just said fuck it. Let it happen. But what about our service people that got killed? The ship that got sunk? Who gives a fuck? Yeah, that was old Gimp Legs Roosevelt. That was going to save the nation after he fucked it, see? So anyway, the Germans is already bringing these creatures back. So when the cat lickers, the Pope on the rope, you know, them Catholics, they're the ones that like to play with little kids. I don't mean play bingo. They worked a deal with old shitty Roosevelt, old Gimp Legs. They should have called him the Tin Man. And they brought these fucking crowds over here. But now here's the funny thing. Only if you had a brain. Himmler killed himself because he feared he was going to be hung. So then Goering. But there was a select few, including one that showed up in a plane in Ireland. Oh, Hess. Well, the Hess that you seen being brought up in the Jewish tribunal Nuremberg, that wasn't the same Hess. And anybody that goes back and watches anything about Hess after he crash landed there in Ireland will know. Because you look at the befores and you look at the afters. That was a clone to trade around, be the little monkey. But see how that works? They only saved the brainchild. Well, over the years, there's been people that said they seen a down fishing at nighttime, seen something flying around screaming. They shined the spotlight up, pterodactyl. Then down there in the Congo, they claim that there's a dinosaur down there. And of course, we know the well known Champ, Nessie, just to name a few. But we only see one. We only see one. Well, yeah, you only see one at a time. But how many more of these things, like the dire wolf, are they bringing back that they ain't telling and have been bringing back for years? Then you got to ask yourself the question. Now, I like to walk out in my yard and go out to the garden, go out there and pick fruit off my trees. How would you like to be out there in your backyard in the swimming pool and you swim to the edge and you reach up there to get your tall glass of iced tea? And by the time you get it almost to your face, a fucking pterodactyl flies by, takes your arm off and the glass of tea off too. Now that don't beat all. Well, people spotted things. Give you a good case in point. Have you heard these fucking retards, these crypto hunters, cryptid hunters, going around looking for these things? I can name a whole bunch of fucking idiots. But really, why would I want to promote them? They know who they are and they know they're fucking idiots. You ever wonder why only a few people sees a thunderbird? They're going in and out of portals in the sky. Hello there. Well, here's what's funny. They're bringing all this stuff back, and I'll go ahead and spell out the reason. This was all planned back a long time ago. They've tried this, they've tried that, they've tried this, they've tried that. Hello, Euro. Anything they can to depopulate the world. Yes, depopulate the world. And each time, they wipe out a hell of a number of us. But if by bringing these things back and they run out of the smaller things to hunt, like rabbits, things like that, squirrels, what do you think these things are going to turn on and start eating next? What was they eating back in prehistoric times? Humans. Which brings me to another point. I have seen this in the project. Yes, if they're bringing back these animals like that, they're also bringing back the different branches of humans from back in those days. Now, what the fuck do you think's going to happen when all this shit, including the cryptids, all get turned loose on humanity? What do you think's going to happen? It's gonna be every man for himself. Why do you think all these people are building bunkers? You're rich and famous. Then I won't mention no names because I don't want to make nobody mad. Yeah, that's true, Euro. They're gonna be hiding in bunkers. While the rest of us will be out here trying to take care of our animals, our livestock, our house pets, our gardens, our fruit trees, and trying not to get stepped on by one of these big motherfuckers. And of course, where do you think that jack off Billy Gates is going to be? He's going to be buried down so far that an ostrich got his head in a hole, couldn't see old Billy Gates, along with the rest of these rich pricks. While we're going to be out here fending for each other and for ourselves. That's the facts of the matter. So, when you hear stories, you have to kind of wonder, is this person telling the truth? But you look at all the evidence, like the dire wolf, a couple other things they brought back. They said the coelacanth went extinct. And well, my God, some motherfucker caught one. So was it extinct or was it something that Hitler and the German youth brought back? You just happened to turn it loose there. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Kind of like, the extinct megalodon. Now all of a sudden, there's sightings of sharks that could swallow a great white, whales with big old giant bite marks on them. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Now, if you want to believe the narrative, you just keep your head in the sand. Yeah, they're bringing a lot of this stuff back, and they have been for quite a while. But I'm just trying to make a point that they are bringing this stuff back. And just because they say, hey, look, here's a little mammoth. If they show you a mammoth, which they've already done this kind of shit, it's the shit that you haven't seen yet is what's going to surprise the fuck out of you. And there is people that is seeing these things, and yes, they are very much alive. And they're creating these things, and I wouldn't be surprised if they wouldn't doing the same thing with me that they're doing with some other people, sending them back to bring back a specimen to get DNA from or eggs, because now they're experimenting with these eggs. I seen that the other day. So what I'm trying to say is our ancestors must not have been too fucking stupid. Yeah, because they have animals up there at Antarctica that was supposed to be extinct. Matter of fact, Admiral Byrd reported that thing that he's seen up there in Antarctica. But it's funny though. Oh, we got to talk about Iran. Oh fuck, we got to talk about Venezuela. Hey asshole, what about some of this other shady shit that's going on that y'all doing behind the dark? Oh no, I had nothing to do with that. Really? Well, then that makes you stupid. Why does it make you stupid? If somebody come borrow $1,000 from me, you think I'm gonna sit there and go, well, you don't need to tell me what it is. I don't need to know. Somebody's greasing somebody's hand. There's a circle jerk going on, but who is the pivot man? Now, personally, I never did trust the CIA, and I've worked with some of them cocksuckers. I trust them by as far as I throw them, and I just soon stay the hell away from them because they're a bunch of fucking lunatics, and that's being nicely. Because anything bad that's ever happened, people disappearing, starting wars to keep the American people, they got them blinders on to keep them focused. That look, there's a war over there. Over here, we're setting up drug deals with the triad. Sound kind of familiar? Vietnam, triad, and all of our good service people get killed off because the Christians in action, that's CIA. Them peckerheads got to create a diversion in order to carry out their shit. Yeah, but it's funny. The CIA never gets in trouble. And no matter how many times you catch them with their hand in somebody else's pants, they should be taken out of commission. But like J. Edgar the queer Hoover, yeah, he was queer. He had a boyfriend. They have shit on everybody. Damn. Yeah, I didn't know too much about that. But the CIA is involved in all this kind of shit and these projects, and they know everything. You know, that's why they'll never be disbanded. They need to be. They need to be fired, and all of them go to work at Hardee's or go work in a diaper factory. Why? Because they full of shit. But anyway, they're creating all this stuff, and who do you think's going to be? You think they're going to put up a fence and keep these things in? It's going to be like a zoo you just drive through? Hell no, it's not. They'll wait until the right time, and about the time the American people stand up and these other government people stand up to these other governments, that's when they'll turn this shit loose. It'll look like Godzilla going through Tokyo while them little cocksuckers hide. Wow, cool. But like I said, there you have the government that everybody sees on TV. Then you have the shadow government, the ones that really run the show. So, like I said, they're not only bringing back these animals, but they're also bringing back the different branches of the humans, Neanderthals, all that stuff. Don't let them shit you. They're just keeping it under wraps as best they can. But every so often, the veil gets parted and a whistleblower comes out. So I'm just telling you ahead of time, when some of these people claim that they've seen a pterodactyl or they've seen this, they've seen that, you may not want to be so quick to knock them down and say they're full of shit. Because I'm here to tell you, they've been doing this for years. Oh, yeah, they're going to release the things like the dire wolf. Look, we crossed it with a dog. It's so happy. Throw the boy to go fetch. They're only showing you the cute stuff. They ain't showing you some of the crazy shit. So Anytime you think that things like this isn't going on, you're dead wrong. Well, like my grandpa used to say, you can either keep your eyes and your ears open and see it for yourself, go dig up, go look, get the information out there, or you can wait until you're out there hanging up clothes or you're out there sunbathing and one of those fuckers step on you. Now, even Ethan has talked about and showed you things that they brought back, that's been brought forth. I heard about the one girl that they brought back from the moon that the astronauts found, but I didn't know there was two. Cool. So anyway, they're going to bring this stuff back, and they have been bringing it back. So some of those photos that Ethan took, you can see things in them, like the giants and other things. So, you know, take like the Kandahar giants. You know, they try to keep it hid as best as possible, but you can't hide something like that. Shit. Anybody go out there are gonna run across something. And periodically people do. So just remember one thing. There's lots of things that they're doing behind the curtain. But every so often that curtain gets blown by the wind and you see just a peek of it, a peekaboo. You know, why is it that these scientists, the ones, the public scientists, the ones that come out and said, hey, what about that coelacanth? It's been dead for billions of years. Well, then what the fuck is that? My God, it must have been hiding in the ocean somewhere. They're just so fucking full of shit. It's like these people on YouTube when they get talking about Montauk, they have to follow a certain line. And each one of them regurgitate the same thing the other one said. Because they ain't got nothing better to say. They're just running off of Joe Schmo's shit. Well, there's labs all over the world. Some of them are hid right underneath the public's nose. Like today, I was watching a thing. It shows Robert Francis Kennedy Jr. And it showed Trump standing beside him, and he was pointing up at these chemtrails. RFK exposes chemtrails. Have them motherfuckers been in a cave or what for umpteen years? They've been doing this shit for a long time. I don't know who the buffoon was that put it up. I can't remember. But that was the caption. And I thought, you know something? You're about 10 years too late. Damn. Yeah, it's crazy. We was been smelling a funny smell. It smells like spray paint and some other type of a chemical. Been smelling that past couple days, Euro. So yeah, I mean, they're doing all kinds of weird shit with trying to bring different things back. That's like they talk about. I think it was down there in the Amazon. They talking about this great big long, supposed to be one of the biggest snakes in the world, and all these people talk about it. And I guess down in the Congo, they've seen same kind of thing, big giant snake. And they look and look and look. So far, nobody's come up with one, but you just wait. There's going to be somebody that gets a picture of that thing or films it when the government decides it should be, found out there in the jungle somewhere. That's the way it is. That's like I tried to tell people for years in the Illinois and the Mississippi rivers, there are sharks. Yes, I said sharks. There is one type of shark that stocks salt in its body so it can survive periods of time in, I was going to say fresh water, but there ain't nothing fresh about the rivers. Shit gets flushed into them and everything else, so they ain't fresh. But yeah, there's cases of people catching them. I can't remember when the exact date was, but in Alton, Illinois, somebody found one of these sharks. And there's been other places along the rivers that found them dead. So if they're there dead, they're also alive in the river, swimming. That's what happens to a lot of people that drowned in the river when they don't find no body. They just gone. These sharks eat them just like the turtles and the big catfish in the river. But yeah, it always made me wonder, and I was telling my wife about it the other day. I said, I've been wanting to talk about this for quite a while and wasn't sure on how to really go about it. And I thought, hell, I'll just wing it. And it's something that's really kind of, I've been on both sides of the fence on this thing. And no matter what, I always keep coming to the bad side of the fence about this because I don't see where anything good is going to come up with them trying to play gods, not God, but gods, several. I just don't. I don't see what purpose it would serve to bring back something like a T-Rex. Yeah, yeah, they do. That's true. But they also store salt. So I don't understand. I don't see what good's it going to do us to bring back these creatures. They went extinct for a reason. Why not just let sleeping dogs lie? But no, they always got to figure out some way, instead of using this money they spend on these stupid things, these different projects and shit, they should take that money and just divvy it up and give Joe Schmo and Betty Bop, Joe Public, that money back. But no, they take our money and use it against us. Don't make a whole hell of a lot of sense, does it? That's almost like paying somebody to hit you with a ball bat. About that damn stupid. And that's the way I feel about that. But you think about it. That's like I had to laugh my ass off in Virginia. And I'm talking about Virginia Beach, Virginia, up in that area. And I ain't sure where else, but I know for a fact in Virginia because I lived there for a while. They claim that these Asian people, I can't remember what descent, so I'm just going to say Asian people. That'll cover a wide variety. They would take this little fish that you could get inside of a pet store. They carry it in a freaking fishbowl to the hospital, and then after the person got better, they'd take it and turn the son of a bitch loose in these waterways. I heard about that too. Yeah, but I've also heard about the rock apes in Vietnam that some of the Vietnam veterans talked about. So I mean, then they claimed these fish was taken over. It's like, how friggin' stupid do they really think we are? That was to take our mind off of something else that was going on. Get you busy thinking about that. It's almost as bad as the conservation, the DNR claiming when these people out there hunting or people out feeding the hogs and cattle, hey, I seen a panther, I seen a cougar, I seen a lynx. Nah, it's probably just a house cat. Maybe it's an old coyote you seen. Don't give me that shit. There's a place in northern Illinois up there by the south part of Wisconsin. I went to a place up there where they work on trucks and was there one day, and this guy pulls in and he's talking to the owner. So I'm sitting there, waiting to get this truck done in the lobby, and I hear this guy talking. He goes, "Hey," he said, "you got a minute?" The guy said, "Yeah." He goes, "Come here and look in the back of my truck." So I walked outside too, but I used the disguise as I wanted to have a cigarette. The tailgate's down on this truck, and this big black panther is dead, of course. He shot it. Its nose was touching the back of the cab of the bed of the truck. The ass went all the way down to where the tailgate would have shut. The tail hung off of the tailgate. But yet, according to all these different entities, there ain't no breeding population. Dude, you probably seen a black tube sock blowing through the wind over there. Well, I hate to tell you, but that motherfucker I seen in the back of that truck, that wasn't no goddamn tube sock. It was a pretty good sized fucking cat. A puma, I guess you want to call it, or a panther, whichever. Now it's funny. These things have been seen all over the place. Now, if there ain't a breeding population, why are they seeing these things, videotaping these things, killing these things, if there ain't a breeding population? Now, how'd that breeding population get started up? I thought back in the 20s and 30s, they killed a lot of them big cats off. Oh, shit, I forgot. The DNR went around and conservation turned loose these little pussy cats and they put some miracle grow on them and them motherfuckers would grow huge. Bullshit. It's funny. Yeah, they're all over the place. I've seen the brown ones, the ones they call the mountain lions, and I've also seen the black ones, the panthers. Now, where I live at now, I've also seen bobcat. And let me tell you something. Pound for pound, at least a bobcat and a mountain lion, unless you corner them, they'll run off. A bobcat won't. Them some bitches will stalk you and hunt you just like a rabbit. There's been a lot of cases where people's got mauled by them, tore up pretty good by them, and killed. So, you know, it's just funny. I might understand if it's one guy that sees something, but when you go over a period of years and several people witness these different things, like the pterodactyl and other creatures, then that adds up. That's not somebody just out there getting stoned or shit faced drunk, seeing his wife out there walking around inside the house and think it's her. That but that's what they like to do. Same thing with cryptids, they oh hell, it was a pack of dogs killed that lady over there. Really? When did dogs start walking on their hind legs? Hmm. When did dogs walk on their hind legs and run up the side of a fucking mountain carrying a little boy? Hmm. Now, don't expect me to throw in here about the LBL because that's some of Roger LBL's bullshit lies, along with Martin the Fartin Groves and the rest of those peckerheads. That was a made up story. That's crazy, man. Damn. You probably see a lot. You probably live out there in the boonies. Wow. It's amazing some of the stuff though you can see and you get back in the away from any of the main roads and get back in the sticks real far. But I know it used to when I hunted, I seen all kinds of strange shit. But then again, I seen a lot of strange shit at the project too. But anyway, they're doing this on purpose. They just don't want anybody to figure it out. But if you see two fingers, then you know it's two fingers. If you see three fingers, you know it's three fingers. You don't mistake three fingers for a Chevrolet truck. Then again, it goes along with UFOs. Back when there was Project Blue Book and all that shit. Oh hell, you just seen a cloud, man. Cloud my ass. And then now all of a sudden, well, there is UFOs. No shit. There's aliens too. No shit. Been saying that for several years. Wow. Tell you what, there's nothing better than seeing deer and stuff. I know I got deer come up in my backyard some nights. And on the nights they come up the houses when those dog men are out prowling around out in the woods behind the house back there, out here in the hayfield. And it's funny because they'll actually come up. My neighbor was asking me one time if I see something on my camera at his house. I was like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "There's something banging on the back part of my house." So I go outside to smoke and just have a look see. Those deer were sleeping right up against his house. Yeah, and that ain't no shit. That was a good one. Yeah, it's funny. They don't take the word of common ordinary people, but I guarantee you, if Fauci said he's seen something, fuck, they'd all be beating the bandwagon. That's like what gets me more than anything, Euro, is you give an idiot a badge, and every one of these fucking YouTube people, oh my God, he was a cop. He knows what he's seen. What about the things that he's seen that he didn't want to see or was told not to see? They say that those cops, their word is gold. I trust them motherfuckers about as far as I can throw them. I've had some bad dealings with them. There is a few good ones, but out of 20,000, there's only one good one. So they're far and few and in between. I've been harassed by those assholes, and each time they've harassed me, they've got their ass handed to them. And that's the way it goes. You know, you see all kinds of things out there, just like, there's things out there that you just can't explain. So if it's not normal, it's paranormal or it's abnormal. So anyway, like I said, I got a couple photos of things, that not supposed to exist, but they do. And I can remember as a kid seeing while we was waiting for the school bus, seeing a panther across the field, and the road went up toward that pasture, and this panther would actually jump the fence, come out onto the road, and jump the next fence, just like it was nothing. And we watched that for years. Every morning, just a little bit before the bus got there, we would see them. Yeah, that ain't no kidding. Yeah, that's like a lot of people don't know too, and I'll go ahead and say it since you were talking about that there. Do you know in the United States, there's one place that's legal to hunt man? You know where it's at? New Orleans. And a lot of people's probably gonna sit here and say, "Oh, you're full of shit." Really? If my dad was alive, I'd like to see you tell him that. He was dry docked down there at New Orleans. The boat he was on the river was dry docked down there for the winter. All he did was gonna walk across the levee and go up to a convenience place and pick up some stuff. The cops pull in, take him to the police department, and they made a phone call and they told my dad, said, we got you for this, 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 this. That's you're full of shit. They was like, oh no, we seen it. In the meantime, one of the cops sitting there make a phone call and says he'll be ready in about 15 minutes. Dad, what's that all about? Said, well, since you won't admit to these crimes that you say you didn't commit, that's that I work on the boat. I just come across the fucking levee and you guys picked me up while I was on the way to the convenience store. I ain't had time to do nothing. They's like, yeah, but see, that don't matter. We have badges, you don't. So we're allowed to do anything we want to. Now, we made a phone call. Since you won't say anything, we can't keep you in jail. We made a phone call, and they're going to get ready for you. Get ready, what do you mean? Well, we got to turn you loose. We can't hold you without no crime. So we're going to cut you loose. The guy said, I'll be back in a minute. The other cop sat there and he goes, what he means is, here in a few minutes, we're going to kick you out the door. And there's already guys waiting. They're going to hunt you down and for a trophy. Dad grabs the phone and calls us at home. My mom stayed on the phone with him. I went to the neighbors and made some phone calls. Me, some boys I know, went down there and got my dad and brought him back. So you remember the movie? I think it was called Hard Target. Yes, they do hunt people down there. And so next time you go down there for Mardi Gras, stay in the main parade route, or you could wind up in the same game my dad was. So yeah, Euro, I know what you mean. But yeah, just when you're out there hunting or fishing at nighttime, whatever, just be aware that there's some things out there that really shouldn't be there, but they are. Because our world ain't what you've been told it is. You got a bunch of these screwballs like the CIA, Christians in Action, that are funding all this crazy shit. Yeah, that ain't no kidding. And I'll tell you something else too. Down there, if you go asking too many questions, like about Marie Laveau and all that, the person will be sitting there like they're your best friend. They'll send you a place, they'll make a phone call, and you'll wind up sicker than shit if you don't wind up dead first. So, anytime you're out and about, or even in these other places like New Orleans, Louisiana, Alabama, places, keep your head on a swivel. Keep your ears open, your eyes open, because there is weird shit. Yeah, I remember hearing something about something like that. I can't remember where I heard it from, but yeah, I know there were certain places you had to really be careful out there. So yeah, I mean, the only advice I can give you is keep your head on a swivel, because there is things out there that creep and crawl. Damn. Yeah, I've heard about different things like in New Orleans hexes they can do, um, especially Haiti. You really got to be careful there. Have your damn eyes in the back of your head, or somebody come along and take your damn scalp. Now, my wife is a witch. She usually don't do too much of anything bad, but piss her off and see what happens. So I mean, there's good and bad in everything, but again, there's so many things out there that you don't know what to believe and what not to. But I can tell you this much: there is things out there that you can't fight it, and 9 times out of 10, like these dog men, these Bigfoot, and these other creatures, if you don't aim a gun, and you hear about all these buffoons out there, I took my 30-06, went out there and shot that motherfucker. Really, where's the body? Oh, I just blew him apart, man. Government come in and took him, pick up the hair. You lying motherfuckers. Wow, cool. But yeah, trust me, if somebody would have shot one of them dog men and killed it, they'd be parading that motherfucker around for cases of beer. But my rule of thumb is when I go to the woods, no matter what I go to the woods for, whether it be hiking or whatever, I carry a gun. I've had more problem with people than I have with creatures and everything else. And I've got pictures of some of the crazy shit. But it's like this. I was always told, don't raise a gun that you aren't ready to use it. And I can tell you this from experience. Even out here in my backyard, I walk out there with my hunting vest on, with or without a gun. Them deer will be skittish. But I can go out there, just like I'm dressed right now, when the peaches are ready to be picked. And them deer will actually lay under my trees, eating the peaches off the ground and picking the ones they can reach with their damn necks. And they'll just move over about 50 foot and stand there and look at me. So these creatures know about guns. They may not know the whole dynamics, but they know that that's how much go boom and they get hurt or killed. Yeah, yeah, you got to be careful about what you send because it could come back to you in several numbers in several different ways. She always said that if it's not a valid reason, then it will come back at you. So yeah, I mean, I ain't saying don't take a gun. All I'm saying is if you see something like a dog man or whatever, untrain yourself to think to raise that gun and point at it because it may be just doing the same thing you're doing. It's out there hunting for whatever it's looking for, whether it be a rabbit, a deer, and all of a sudden it sees you standing like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing here?" So it's probably sitting there cocking its head like, "What the hell? You looking for my deer?" And I've heard of all these people, "Oh, I'm gonna shoot the son of a bitch." Go ahead. You just be one less person. So anyway, just watch when you're out there. And like I said, it ain't any different than when you meet people. Granted, there's some squirrely fuckers out there, like pedophiles and things like that, politicians. You may think they don't deserve to be here, and you may be right. Yeah, I agree with you, Euro, on that. Because 9 times out of 10, you startled them as bad as they startled you. They're just out doing their natural thing in their habitat. We're the ones trespassing. That's the way I always looked at it. We're in their hunting spot, even though we may have been hunting there for 2 or 3 years. It don't matter. You have a fucking yard. So it's like sharing a hunting spot with a person you don't even know that's got permission to hunt there too. They're there hunting, you're there hunting. So, you know, it's just a sign of respect not to raise that gun. And like Euro just said, try to communicate with it. Or don't run, but just get the shit out of there. 'Cause I can tell you the ones that the dog men around here that I feed back here in the back, I don't hand feed them. I don't put it on a plate and hand it to them. I know they're back there. I take the stuff back there and drop it, and I come back up the house. Yeah, I agree. That would be something smart to do rather than pull a gun on them, because basically you pull a gun even on something you don't understand, whether it be a dog man, a Bigfoot, or a shapeshifter. What do you think they're going to do to you? Yeah. Just because you see one don't mean there ain't others laying around, maybe up in a tree or something, waiting to spring out of your ass when you pull the trigger. Yeah, I mean, it's like different races of people. I try to get along with them, but you can't get along with everybody. But that don't mean the whole tribe is bad. There's I'll go ahead and say it, even though I just don't really usually like to say anything. There's been some black people that's done something to me, and yeah, I didn't like it. But does that make me hate all black people? No. It's just like white, Chinese, whatever. Every culture has good and bad. And to me, I really hate calling them creatures. They're just another culture. So, you know, there's that. Then again, there's some people that I've come across in my travels that are shapeshifters. They can't help it. It's just the way they are. It don't bother me as long as they're not attacking me. But it's like anything else. You got to give it a fair shake. Sure, if you out there and you see a shapeshifter and you go shooting at it, then you can't blame that shapeshifter for killing you. You was trying to kill it. Leave the things alone. You know, just try to get along. And if it's Bigfoot or Dog Man or Goat Man, whatever, you might consider just sharing the woods. It's hunting and you're hunting. It's out roaming through the woods, doing its thing, and you're out there hiking. It's not doing much different than what you're doing. So just think about it, you know. And like I said, just be prepared because history always repeats itself, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And one of these days, there's going to be a whole bunch of this stuff that we had never actually seen with our own eyes, like these mammoths and saber-toothed tigers and all that good stuff. It's just going to pop in. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Euro. People should, whether they be shape shifting people or even people like me, project childs, test tube kids, whatever you want to call me, all the above probably. They should all, just like we're doing. We've talked a few times on different shows, on this show and Ethan's show, and just try to get along. There's good in everybody, and just try to see the good. That's what's wrong with this world is there's too many people that think they're better than anybody or smarter than anybody or got more money than anybody. Money don't mean shit. It's the guy out there that goes by and there you are, broke down, a car come along and hit you while you're changing your flat tire, and that guy, no matter what he is, black, red, yellow, white, shapeshifter, who knows? everybody else flying past, and that may be the one person that stops and help you. Now, does that make him a bad person? No, it doesn't. So it's like this. I try to give everybody benefit of the doubt, and I've got kicked in the teeth a few times for it, but I still continue to try. I try to see the good in the world and everybody in it. And like I said, it's cost me a few times, but I still haven't lost my hope in humanity and all creatures, big and small, that we can't find the good in each other and forget about the negative stuff. But, it takes everybody to think like that. You know, I got a neighbor, goddamn, for 6 years. Dude, it was a battle back and forth. And finally, one day, decided that I gotta find the good in him. And I'm glad I did, because it turned out he's a pretty good guy. But he was, you know, didn't want to be the one to put his hand out. And of course, I was feeling the same way. And finally, I was like, fuck this. And like I said, he turned out to be a good friend. I go over there and ask him to use something, no problem. So if somebody like me, a test tube military kid, can find the good in somebody, if everybody found out, that you could find good in somebody and just kind of let the other stuff go that don't involve you anyway, you'd find out that it can make your own little part of the world a little better. Because if we don't start watching out for each other, the government will win. They're supposed to work for us, but it seems like they think that we work for them. Just like I told my mom one time, I don't believe in going to church. I don't believe in the God thing. But when it comes right down to it, even though I don't believe in that, it helps her through the night. So, hey, it works for her. If somebody went and tried to take that right away from her, even though I don't get along with my mom, I would still have to stand up for her, because if I don't stand up for that, then they're going to come along and keep taking everybody else's rights away from them until they get to me. That's just the way I look at it. And just because you find somebody that maybe shuts themselves off from the world, it don't mean you can't be friends with them. Try to find the good in them. Sometimes it'll probably get you kicked in the face, like it did me. But in the case of my neighbor, he turned out to be one hell of a good guy. Here, I'd never even had a clue. So all this shit, one of these days, when they turn all this shit that they're bringing back, that one person that you didn't make friends with, that could be the person that saves your ass. And like I said, this dog man that got the pack around here, we saved each other in the project. Yeah, that's true. But something, they didn't live up to their part of the bargain, so I fear that makes it null and valid, invalid. Yeah, there's all kinds of little loopholes that the military and the government uses. But you know something? I can find just as many loopholes as they can. And besides that, these people have taken everything from me and done a whole lot of shit to me. More than most people could imagine. And being what you are, Euro, you know what I'm talking about. So I don't feel like I owe them shit. I feel like I owe our fellow men and women more than I do the damn government. Because it don't bother them just because they make us take an oath. Keep your mouth shut about this. Keep your mouth shut about that. What about them guys? So yeah, we both been through weird shit and got fucked over by the government and the military. So it's just one of those things that you can find common ground with most everybody or anybody. You know, it's just one of those things that I keep telling people. The American people is going to have to stick together, no matter if you don't like something they do. Well, if it's not affecting you, really, then why is it a problem? Because if we don't, they're going to fuck us all over bad. Just like I didn't take the COVID jab, and I still wouldn't take it today. If they come up and said, "Hey, monkey mumps is out, and everybody's gonna get it, better take a shot," you take the shot. I don't want your fucking boosters. First of all, I don't know what the fuck's in it. Yeah, I'm like you on that. I usually try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, even though I'm guilty as everybody else. About my neighbor, and I say he turned out to be a pretty good guy. Matter of fact, I don't even have to deer hunt. Him and his son, they killed deers back there, and they keep me in deer. But yeah, it's funny. Yeah, people just gonna have to learn how to. If they don't learn how to get along and excuse some things they don't understand, when all shit breaks loose and the world goes to hell because of them, the government, those are the people that's gonna be not left standing because we still outnumber them. But the problem is, there's gonna be like tribes of people. These people are gonna get along, be over here, and that's fine too. Because the more tribes there is, the harder it is for them to swat all them hornets that's going to be stinging the shit out of them. So I'm going to be getting off here and go have me a smoke. So Euro, thanks for stopping in, man, and everyone else. Y'all have a good night, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for watching, and thanks Euro. Okay.